Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Juicy Talk with your girl, Juicy, and my co host, Juice.
Juice.
So, we are having a wonderful show today. We got a hot topic
Yeah.
today, something that's been trending, everybody's been talking about. Hey, Delta.
What's up, Delta
We're
Roots?
having it's a little different today. It's a Wednesday. So we're a little rough around the edges. We're not used to being on Wednesdays,
I know,
but
right?
we're having a special show because it's hot to trot. We got stuff to talk about. So
All
that
right.
means Thursday there will not be a show, but we're gonna run this again. But this show is so important. We wanted to go live.
I know, right?
We didn't want to just do a show and not be live today. So we decided we were gonna just do it early.
Yeah.
So we used to do it on Wednesdays previously a long time ago.
Oh, I wasn't part of it back then. Was
Yeah,
it?
you wasn't. Not when we did it
Thursday,
on
Wednesday.
Wednesdays. So yeah, so we used to do it on Wednesdays. It used to be wine down Wednesdays, but we
Oh,
don't have any wine today, and we're just having a good time. So
what's up,
Hardy got
producer?
on. What's up? We got the producer in the building.
She's in the
Hardy got
building.
on red because he's the bad guy today, and I have on
I'm the
white
devil.
because he the devil. He the devil. He the
I'm the
devil.
devil.
He the devil, and I am the angel today,
Whoa.
as always.
Angel in disguise. That's what you
Angel fall from heaven, angel.
Oh, you know what you say about that?
I don't know. That might not be good.
Right. Exactly. Careful what you say.
Right,
I know, right?
So we're super excited.
How was your day?
Had a great day. So we're just gonna get into the subject. We're gonna get straight
That's
into
what my
it.
day was.
How was your day, Hardy?
My day was pretty good.
That's good.
I got caught in the rain today. I was working today, got caught in the rain. But it's okay.
Yeah,
But
it was
anyway,
a rainy day,
enough
but
about that.
It's warm now.
I know, right?
Mhm. So we're gonna get straight into the topic. It's gonna be a really interesting one. It's gonna be really funny. It's I don't know. It's gonna be some interesting conversation because I know a lot of people feel some type of way. So for you guys that don't know, Marvin Sapp has been trending, and it's just been. And I'm gonna show the clip on what it's about and why, and it'll, you know, you'll see what it's all about. But I just want to first say, it brought up a interesting conversation just about how what goes on, the practices that are in the church. And so I want to get straight into it. We're gonna talk about
Right. Well, let's keep in mind this happened a year ago.
this did happen
It
a
happened
year ago,
so
but it's just the video just got released, and so it's been trending, and it's been opening up a lot of conversations about church and just how they do things around church. So I want you guys to check it out. And never would have paid it.
I know, right? Here we go.
Here we go. First clip.
And they understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. It's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically, or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm gonna have y'all come to the altar and give it, because I need to see 1,000 people moving. Bring them baskets. I want the baskets up here. I want to see the folk. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints.
Okay.
All righty then. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, where should I start? I was a little offended by this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think like one of the things that I had a problem with was not so much was the money part. I think what I had the most problem with is how he asked for the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people have $20. I know we have this. But in some cases, some people may not have $20. They may have
Mhm.
$5 or $10.
Mhm.
And then he said, the people that sit on the stage, they know it costs to sit up here. So
Mhm.
why would he say that to people like it's like it costs to sit up here. Why would he say that? And the other thing I had a problem with was snapping of the finger, like hurry up, like I felt like, and I may be wrong in saying
Hmm.
this, maybe felt like they were, I don't want to use the word peasants, but it's just seemed
Mhm.
like how, hurry up, y'all ain't moving fast enough. And the fact that he said close the door, like I get it. Like there's certain times you don't walk in church. I get it. That's probably one of the times when they make a collection and they open the doors of the church. I get all that, but I think his timing was off when he did all this preaching and talking to the members of the church
Mm.
and bring the basket up so I could see it. I mean, who says stuff like that? And I think it's so hard because there's so many people that are straddling the fence about Christianity or even
Mm.
going to church, and we see stuff like this, and it's really hard for people to make that decision. Do I really want to go to church and have someone tell me what to give at time of collection and tithing? So that's one of the reasons I had a real problem with that.
Mm. Interesting.
What's your take on that?
So I just feel like it's so loaded,
Mhm,
right? First of all, it's so many people that have been taken advantage of
mhm,
in the church. And so I will say I don't feel like all pastors are bad. I don't
right.
feel like giving is a bad
I
thing. I feel
understand
like
that.
we
I'm not saying
should
that.
give,
Right.
but I don't feel like it's necessary to give people an amount that they should give. I
Mhm,
want you to give 40,000 today. I know y'all can do it. I feel like it is hustling to a certain extent. If God likes a cheerful giver,
ooh,
then you should be able to do what you want to do
I like that.
and give how you want to give, right? Someone shouldn't say, get in this line. I want you to get in this $100 line. I want you to get in this $200 line. Come on. I expect, because he did say to the leaders, he said, I expect y'all to give more. And he did. I don't, yeah, he sounded kind of desperate, but for me, my problem is Jesus paid it all, right?
Yes,
Didn't Jesus pay it all?
that's what the Bible says.
I mean, if Jesus paid it all, yeah, then I'm just saying, like, I just have a really hard time. Now, let me just say this. I grew up, um, to be honest, as a Jehovah's Witness,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, they never asked for money. They put on very expensive conventions. They have donation boxes on the side of the church. When you walking out the door, you can give a donation if you feel like it. But they never mention donations. But yet and still, the lights stayed on. The gas. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness anymore, but the light stayed on. The bills got paid, and they fed people. They had extreme conventions and all this different stuff. I'm not saying in my opinion, personally, I feel like you do not have to beg for money.
Mhm.
And it is equivalent to begging. I don't, I just have a real problem with that. And I feel like it gives a place, it puts a taste in people's mouth that they don't want to go to church.
Mhm.
Like I know I have been at church, right, where I have felt pressured to get in $100 line. Maybe I did have $100 in my bank account, but maybe during that time, I know I wasn't making nothing, but I wasn't making but $25,000 a year. I mean, it was like I was really a broke kid, and and I remember, because I had it, being made to feel guilty about not getting in $100 line,
Mhm.
and I just feel like it is not of God. I feel like it's pimping God. And I feel like it is man's doing. And this is a lot of the reason why people don't subscribe to going to church anymore. I'm just keeping it real. I mean, it's a lot of people that might not like what I'm saying, but I feel like that's a lot of reason why a lot of people are choosing not to go to church. And just to really be honest, like the whole principle of what it was really meant for, like the whole point of giving money was to be able to come back and pull on it in your time of need. And I just feel like in a lot of times that does not happen anymore. Like you can't go to the church and be like, hey, I can't pay my mortgage, but I've always paid my tithes. Can you give me this month? Oh, I'm sick. I gotta have surgery. Can you pay my mortgage this month? They're gonna be looking at you like, what? You want me to do who? And I don't care. It could be a mega church. But and then I it was called contribution boxes in the back. What you gave was a personal decision. And I mean, out of all the things that they did do, I felt like they did that right.
Just kind of piggyback what you said. Go ahead.
They say, what about Black mega church? Use money to promote and set up Black businesses. All the money, no vision. We should have our own banks, dealerships. I agree with you on that. We should have all of that stuff. So what they doing with the money? Because it seemed like the only person is benefiting from it is all of it is a business. I feel like religion is a business personally, but not relationship, but religion. And I say that, what are they doing with the money? Why is it that the only person that's prospering is the pastor?
Well, what I've heard, like to my knowledge, it's been said that they have to pay the lights, they have to pay electricity, they have to pay the choir director. They have to pay the.
Why do they have to pay a choir director? I thought that was volunteer work.
I don't know. This is where the money goes.
The money, the musicians.
The
not the choir director.
And they got to pay the daycare people who watch the kids while you're at church, the nursery, things like that. That's to my understanding. That's where I understand that where the money goes.
I'm saying even if that's where the money is going, let's just say that's where the money is going, right? Okay. That ain't what it's for. According to scripture, that's not what it's for.
But that's what they say it goes.
Why? Because that's not what it's for. Okay. What it's for is what does the Bible say it's for? It say bring all your tithes and offerings to the storehouse so that in your time of famine, you can go into the storehouse and have enough to provide. We're not collecting wheat and barley nowadays and goats and pigs and stuff like that. So our money is what we use to take care of ourselves. So that is what we give that goes into the storehouse. My thing is, why, if the whole purpose and the principle is to give with a cheerful heart and want to, why does it seem like that time is the time that people feel the most pressure? They feel the most like it ain't altar call, it's tithes and offering.
Right. I've been to churches where they have like 3 collections. Mm-hmm. So I'm like 3. So what I did, right? I did like the church. I went to. So what I used to do is come towards the end of the church on purpose. So I wouldn't take part in 3. And maybe that was wrong for me, but I just
you come at the end.
Yeah, I couldn't get with that.
Oh yeah, that's why they started. You the reason why they switched it around.
I probably was.
You the reason why they take offerings in the end now.
I know, right? But it's crazy.
See, the thing is, look, the trick is to get in while the choir leave before the pastor stop talking. Go to the bathroom and don't come back. No, I'm just
but you gotta hear the word. The word.
Yeah, you hear the word. And then when he get all amped up because he closing up and the musicians come back in and be like, dun, dun, dun. And that's time to get up.
I know, right?
Put your finger up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But I just feel like, no, really, to get back to the subject of Marvin Sapp, I personally feel like, listen, in his defense, right? I understand the need to collect money. 40,000 and I have a goal of 40,000. I don't care. And I heard people say, you know, all on TV, uh, you know, you would give Beyonce 1,500
Oh yeah,
and
concert.
you would give concerts.
Mary J. Blige, $100 to go see her.
You will. And people do because they spend their money on what they spend their money on. And I feel like that's how it should be in a church. Spend your money where you want to spend your money on. If your heart is to give, if I give something to you, it's out of my kindness in my heart. I don't want anything in return. I'm not going to beg you for anything. You know, I don't want you to beg me.
Right.
I'm just going to give you what I want you to have. I'm like, here go $20. That's what it is. If I want to give you $100, there it is. And because I feel like most people, when you take the pressure away, they will actually probably give more. But when you add that extra, like you have to, it's an obligation. I just feel like it's distasteful, and I just think it takes the God out of it. It's about the person. It's a 10% tithes is only for Israel and for the tribe of Levi because they didn't have an inheritance. Technically, Christians don't have to pay tithes because that's the law of Israel. What is that? Israel.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. But I mean, I'm gonna just say this. I feel like when you use the principles correctly, it works. So I'll say the Jewish community. They pay they give offerings, they pay to their they give, you know, their money, and they have Jewish community foundations where they even help other people, but they do that and they end up being able to have the wealth, have the money because they invest within their own community. They spend their money within their own
That's
community. True. They're not, if somebody is having a wedding, they're going to they're going to the specific, they're only going to have it catered at the place where, you know, they're gonna go to the Jewish grocery store first. They're gonna support within their community first. And I just feel like we could learn a lot from that. You know, they invest in their children, they invest in their young people, they save up for them to have an inheritance. I mean, those are the things that we should be doing as a community. But I feel like as long as we are taking, and I had this other thing, as long as we are taking from our elderly and our poor people, I mean, let's just be honest. A lot of the people who are giving and paying and faithfully paying their tithes and offerings are people who don't have a lot of income. I mean, on fixed incomes.
Right.
You know, why would you expect somebody only getting $500 a month to give $50 of that $500? That $50 could be the difference between them having bread and milk and eggs for the rest of the month. I feel like it's insensitive.
And just kind of piggyback on what you're saying about that. What does a man gain that robs God's people? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they kind of, when they put prices on things, they're kind of taking that from somebody that really needs something. So and the other thing,
he says, see, here is the hypocrisy. People eat pork, that's against Torah. And what do Christians say? That's Old Testament. Well, paying tithes is Old Testament. I agree. I mean, I agree. I just feel like you should be able to give what you want. And I don't feel like, so, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's an old practice that we should do away with?
I think, like you said earlier, it's about a cheerful giver. I think that's where it comes from. I think if you have, like, I mean, I don't remember ever going to church and giving more than $50. I don't remember ever doing that, but that's, you know, that was my preference. I never gave more. I never gave more than $50.
Wow.
I mean, I may get 20.
Let me just say, I'm sorry.
What?
Because I get so like worked up about this. Like, so back in the day, look, transparency time. So back in the day, right, I was very actively involved in a very popular church in the city of Cleveland. Okay. Um, this church that I was involved in, I will not say the name of this church. Um, the church that I was involved in, I will say that at that time, I remember I was like very faithful, very dedicated, very loyal. And I was there. My kids, I would be there Tuesday, Thursdays, Saturday for choir practice, Sunday, all day long from Bible study all the way. So I would get there about 7 o'clock. I wouldn't leave at 5, 4:30, 5 o'clock sometimes, 6 o'clock. I would be there all day long. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would have my kids in their pajamas at church. You know what I'm saying? And this was my life for years. And is that your phone? Okay. I don't know what that is. But I was like this for years, right? And it was so nuts because I remember my dad at that time was doing my taxes. And I had made like $25,000 or $26,000 a year, which was nothing. This was years ago. And back then I was like a good income. Like I was doing good. So, but I gave $10,000 damn near of my income to the church. Yeah, wow. I did. And my dad was so pissed at me because he felt like you gave away almost half your salary. He said, if you would have been saving that money, you could have did this, you could have did that, you could have. And I remember thinking like, damn, like that was crazy.
I know, right?
Now I will say, like, even though I was giving away half my income, I really was doing good. I had a brand new car. I lived out in the suburbs, and you would think that I would have been messed up, but I wasn't. So I have to say, was I blessed? Probably. Did I live a very frugal life? Yes, because I didn't go nowhere. I was at church Tuesday, Thursday, right, Saturday, and Sunday. So I wasn't going out. I wasn't spending any money anywhere, but I gave so much money. No, I wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, I know about that too. Never would have done it.
I know, right?
But I will say that I remember I gave away and I felt so silly when I actually looked at it because at that time I was the same age as this pastor's daughter. Okay. And she was riding around in a brand new, truck. I ain't gonna say what kind it was because people might know, but she was rolling around in a brand new truck and she had like all the fly gear. And I'm like, my tithes and offerings is paying this, I could have took that 10,000 and been doing some other things. And it just changed my mentality around. And I remember I was getting up in $1,000 lines because if you want to be married right now, get in this line and, we gonna pray for you, and you gonna get a husband. Right now, I'm gonna pray for you right now. And I was like, and I'm right there, like, oh, here I go. I'm all of this, right? She would that part, right? And so I'm doing all of this, and it was like they didn't even know my name.
I know, right?
They didn't know my name. They didn't know who I was. I was there as faithful as I was. They couldn't tell you my kid's name. Now, it was people there that did know me, who loved me, who cared about me, who was there for me, who supported me, who helped me through that time. And I love them people, and I still talk to them today. But I'm saying the leaders of that house that was supposed to cover me and protect me and make sure I was cool did not. And I'm not bitter or angry. It's a money grab all day long. But I can tell you that after I left there, okay?
Wow.
I can tell you after I left, and I mean, when I tell you that I was belittled, made to feel like I was little and small, insignificant, and it was nuts until the pastor daughter got in trouble. Then it was okay,
Mhm.
you know. But I'm just saying that this is what happens in so many churches, and it makes people upset, and it makes people not. It makes people frustrated. They're not happy, and they're going to church and they're not being really fulfilled. They're still sad. They're still going through issues. I have more mental health aggravations and breakdowns during that time instead of really, and I wasn't, and I'm in church every week. I have more struggles then than I've had ever again in life after I stopped. And I'm not saying stop going to church. I'm saying do what make you happy. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I probably still am right now. That's what they say. Mm. Listen, I will say this.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
These people didn't even really I was there for probably 15 years. Okay. I will say they didn't even probably noticed until they start looking at money that was less. Because I promise you, um, I was going to hell. Everybody was going to hell that didn't follow them. But they, if you went to another church, they was telling us to leave our family alone if they wasn't going to church. I cut off family members during that time. Yeah,
Was
because
this part
I
of a
was
cult?
that's what it felt like at one point. I
Man.
have to say it did. It felt like a cult. It was like the pastors were like these reverence people. You were scared to look them in their face. You were scared. It was insanity. And when I think about how I was caught up in that, I feel crazy. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
It was nuts.
I'm sorry that you went through something like that. Terrible.
It was crazy. I met some really great people that are still in my life, that will always be in my
Mhm.
life, that I love dearly. It was some really good women who spoke life into me, helped me, was there for me, but it was a lot of manipulation and control and um making you feel like you were um belittled and
Mhm.
less than a lot, that you needed to do better and strive for. It was crazy. Yeah, and so now, if I'm being honest with you, I just do not subscribe to religion. Do I believe in God? Absolutely. I definitely believe in a God. I definitely believe in a higher power and a creator of all. I absolutely believe in that, but I do not believe in religion. I feel like religion, you can have relationship with God,
Mhm.
but there's a difference between a relationship with God and religion.
Mhm. And I guess what I want to say, like, I've some of my friends or
Mhm.
people that I know that go to church every day, every Sunday, and they yell, scream, but Monday through Saturday, they doing whatever, everything underneath the sun. But come
Mhm.
Sunday, they all holy and thou and asking God for this and asking, you know, God, can you help me with our relationship? But they acting like I know everybody say we all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. But to me, those are some people are like hypocrites to
Mhm.
me that can go to church and act one way during the week and shake that whatever they do. I don't get into that, but it just amazes me. So I kind of like what you are. I believe are higher in being, I have a God, but some of the stuff I see, man, it's crazy. It's just ludicrous. And I watched some of the reels today where some of these pastors were again asking people how much to give, and uh, $100 line, a $20 line, and all they doing to me is stuff in their pockets. Are they really helping people? So I don't know.
Yeah. Black churches need to take insurance on grandkids, give 1/3 to grandma. Church keep the rest.
Never heard that before.
I don't know. I feel like Black people do need insurance policies, though. After my mom passed, I was looking through her checkbook. She had damn near single-handedly built that church. She was a church mother and couldn't even get a ride in the church van. That sounds
Wow.
like, to be honest with you, I mean, my mom goes to a smaller church, and I know that she gives a lot. And she's on a fixed income as well, And as her kids, we had to say, okay, Mom, we respect your, wishes and what you want to do. And so, and we worked in her budget because she feels strong about it. But you have to give up something for it. Like, I guess it would be the same if you was a Q or you was an Alpha, I mean, because they pay for membership. They have to pay. They have things that come out or they all pay. If you're a part of an organized anything, you're gonna have to pay. Ladies in the 50s and 60s are obsessed with church. Can form healthy relationships. I do think that I don't know. I just feel like it's okay if that's what you want to do. Like, I don't knock anybody that wants to give to church. I don't feel like it's a problem, or is it, if that's what you choose to do. But I feel like you definitely shouldn't be giving half your doggone income.
I know, right?
You shouldn't, especially if you're on a fixed income. I think that how do you take money away from somebody who already on a fixed income? That don't make no sense to me. I just don't like that. It don't make sense. It don't.
So the other thing I want to talk about is I know Marvin Sapp was at one time he was a singer, right? So I just want to show I just want to show people another thing. There's so many entertainers, singers that does the same that he does. Like, for example, MC Hammer he was a musician, he was a singer. He became a reverend. Run, what was it? Run
DMC was a rapper.
He was a rapper. You also had Little Richard, you had Al Green. How these people were at one time they were entertainers or music people, and they thought, hey, let me try this. Let me try myself at being a pastor. So unless you really called for that, you shouldn't mess around with that.
Because, I don't know if I have a problem with that. I feel like if that's most people who were musicians and stuff like that, they started in the church. That was their start. Their start was in the church. So I don't really have a problem with.
I was just giving an example of who people were at one time were entertainers, and now they tried their hand at being a pastor.
So what's the correlate? Like, why do you think that is?
Like based on what you said, they started at the church. They started at some point. They started at the church, and they went on to start singing rap or.
I was gonna say something real crazy. I'm gonna get canceled if I say it now. Y'all don't cancel me, but it just you said all these people started off secular music and then they went over to gospel. I was gonna say,
over, I guess.
I was gonna say, Satan was the minister of music too.
Yeah, that's true.
At one point, and then he, fell from grace. I mean, according to the Bible.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't want to get off the subject. But I don't want to get off the subject.
You about to go there?
I am.
Ooh.
I am, but
go ahead. Go there. Go. Say it.
Go ahead.
I take my spirituality very seriously, but I am not connected to religion anymore. And I feel like it's a lot of us. I feel like once we reach a certain age of accountability and understanding, a certain level of understanding, most people get to that point where they are spiritually connected, but not religiously connected. I'm with you, Delta. Let's go.
So here, the other thing is, I think as a child, we are like somewhat scared into religion.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you don't do this, God will do this. If you don't do this, God will do that. So I think we had no. I don't want to say we don't have a choice, but when we're young, people always say, if you don't do this, God's going to do this. I think we're scared into it as a child. And like you said, as
I
we get
don't even know
older,
if it means
as,
adversary.
as we get older, we start thinking for ourselves and say, you know what? I don't know.
A lot of the things that I have been told, right? Because I would say that I was definitely raised in a religion that was completely controlling and dominating, right?
Mhm.
And so when I end up leaving that religion, um, it was so many things that we could not do that we were told that if we did them, we would not make it to heaven. And when I start doing like, and religion was definitely forced upon me
Right.
because you take on the religion of whatever your parents or whatever your family have, that's what you take on, right?
Mhm.
And so I definitely was a person who took on the religion of my family. And so what I realized after I got older and I started questioning things and start wanting to find out different things for myself, did research on. I said, I'm gonna really research all the religions, right?
Okay.
Where they came from, their concepts. Don't stop watching my show because of what I'm about to say, okay?
Okay.
But I start watching, like I start just paying attention to a lot of different things and the philosophies of where a lot of things came from. Like I stopped being a Jehovah's Witness. One of the reasons is because um, a lot of people don't know, but at one time, you know, doing like, at one time they taught that being black was a curse, and that
Mm.
when you went to heaven or paradise, that when God created this world again and after the war, and it became, he was going to redo earth, it was going to become like the Garden of Eden again, and we were going to live here, then we'll be restored to our right color.
Wow.
you know and when
I
I
never
found
knew
that
that.
out, I was like, what?
I never knew that.
I did. I was at Church of God in Christ. Not at the hall, but no. Yeah, you was told,
I
yeah.
never
So
asked
you
questions.
basically was told not to yeah, you couldn't ask questions. Me, I've always been inquisitive. I wanted to know, like I was reading encyclopedias when I was a kid. So I'm like, well, where are the dinosaurs? Why they not in the Bible? Why we don't talk
I just,
about that?
I want to know where the 12 disciples are buried at. I'm just asking.
I mean, it's so
What?
many. I don't
What?
even care where they buried at.
I
You know
do,
what
but
I'm
I'm just
saying? Like at the
saying,
end of the
where's
day,
the ark at?
what does that mean? Why would it still be here so many years ago? It would have been deteriorating. But I mean, and I have so as I start looking at different um ideologies about different things, studying different philosophies. It's a lot of different common denominators across the religion. And when you really look at it, everybody's telling the same story, but in different ways. And I start asking myself, like, I mean, if something came out the sky, some different technology came out the sky right now in a spaceship or whatever, and never has, or in some type of technology, in some type of form, say it was a big ball, that was floating, and this person came down through the atmosphere and came down. Half of the people out here, now that could be some type of technology. That could be some type of technology that we're not used to having or seeing before. And we would be like, oh my God, this is God. And anybody who came down in that bubble, we would say, oh my, this must be God. People would be crying. The Messiah then came back. Oh, and it could be a whole nother
Somebody from another
entity
planet.
from another
planet.
galaxy planet that have more technology than us that then came here and showed us something different, and maybe like it's so many different things that could go with that. I believe in God. However, the tactics at the church is definitely not for me. I cannot do fakeness. I grew up in the church and had witnessed so much growing up. I knew I would believe in God in my way, not by the way of fake pastors, reverends, and deacons.
I agree.
I feel you, girl.
I feel you on that. I feel
Ain't no argument for me.
I know, right?
But I'm just saying, like, I started thinking, like, what if, like, how will we look at it? And maybe because we don't know how they built the pyramids. We don't know. I don't understand why, if you're a pope, I don't know if you know this, but in order to be the pope, you have to study Egypt. That's one of the requirements. They keep so many documents that and so many scrolls and tablets that they don't even let us see or have access to, but they have to study Egypt to be. Why do you have to?
Where's Egypt at?
In Africa.
Oh, okay.
Why do you have to study that in order to be the Pope? It doesn't make sense to me. So it's like so many different things that I think that go around with that. But I do feel like there's science tell us that everything that is was created. You look, so everything was created. We were created, So I do believe in creation, and I do believe we have in order for something to be created, it has to have a creator, So it's so many I don't know. Studying ancestry is giving me a lot of answer to the questions the Bible couldn't. Absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at too, Valerie. I do a lot of studying. I do a lot of research. And I agree with you 110%. I do a lot of research. And I don't know what that noise is. It's picking up. But I do a lot of research. And I know for a fact that there is more to the story than we actually think about and know about.
Here's my thing. And I hate to go back on this, but I gotta keep it 100. So when as we were slaves, what did the white man give us? They gave us this book. They gave us this book, and this book is something that they want us to read. At first, they didn't want us to read, but all of a sudden, they want us to read this book that they wanted to put in our face so we can find out what God is. So you gotta be aware of that.
Yeah, and I it's so even with that, right? If I gave you a book, right, and I tore out all the chapters that talked about men in a good way. Let's use this for an example. And then I gave it to you. Would you trust that book as the proper source? Like, would you be able to say that this was the whole book and I'm learned everything I needed to learn from this whole book? If I remove 8 of the chapters, would you get the full picture of this book?
Well, I wouldn't know you took 8.
You didn't know. Say you don't know. You just get the book and you start reading it. Right? But you find out later that I took out 8 chapters of the book. How would you feel? Would you feel like you know what the book was about still?
Absolutely not.
And so that is my thing. Like with all of the religious things that they have out here is I don't know what they did with the book. Where are the rest of the parts of the book? Like there's so many different things that are still not out there. Like there's a lot of things missing from the Bible. What is it? The Council of Nicaea. They took out a lot of the books that was in the Bible. They took out the chapter and I wrote it down. I don't know what that sound is. They keep going off. Hold on 1 minute.
Oh,
What happened? Our camera went out. Wait a minute. Give us a second, y'all. Our camera went out. Play the second clip for us.
thank you.
I have
Marvin Sapp song, Ricky Smile.
I took my money and I didn't trick it. Money that you made, money that I made from music, from hit records. I'm one of the only gospel artists with billions of streams. And you tour. And I tour. I just came off of a tour. Sure. That I made tons of money on. And I'm at the crib right now chilling because I don't have to go on tour. I can wait and do my next thing. I think basically you said all that to say you don't need no $40,000. I don't. And now I'll take it if they gonna give it to me. But I did not raise this money for the premise and purpose of coming to that helped you. Right, where that gave me a platform. This organization is an organization I grew up in. It's a church organization I grew up in, and I'm appreciative. The reason why I'm gonna bring up the organization because it ain't none of y'all business. But the point is these people gave me a platform, man. And the reason why I'm known today is because of the opportunities that this organization gave me. So for me to go back and be able to preach and raise finances and give back to them so that they don't have to go in debt. Listen, hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, y'all. 25 before the top of the hour, y'all. We're talking to Marvin Sapp. More Marvin Sapp up next with Smiley Morning Show. I understand you're supposed to play a song coming out of commercial break, but when you got a friend and fellow Greek that's getting death threats and stuff to his kid, damn the song. I don't want to. We already played that song, so go into it in your own way.
So I wanted to make sure I played that clip because I definitely, if I'm going to tell a story, I got to tell the whole story, right? So yes, if I tell a story, I got to tell the whole story, right? And so I had to play the part of you right, the book of Gashar and the book of Enoch, the story of Adam and Eve, the book of Ashner. It's so many. Asher, which is a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother subject. But you're right. You're absolutely right. But I wanted to say I had to play Marvin Sapp. He did respond to what was going on, and I felt like it was fair to at least put up. It was really hard to find his clip that he had on the Ricky Smiley show, but it's out there, but I couldn't upload it. But I wanted to say, he said, I wanted to make sure that I stated his reasoning. He said that money, the 40,000, was not for him, that it was for an organization that helped him become a musician, that helped him, get exposed to the arts and different things and helped him along his way in ministry. And he wanted to, it was collecting the money for that ministry, and he was at a convention.
Correct.
2, he did not say he was locked the doors. He said close the doors.
Correct.
And the reason why he said that is because, when you have that many people around and you collected money, he didn't want anybody to get robbed, get stolen.
Right. I heard you say.
That's what he said. Okay. And then the other thing is I felt like he needed to, he definitely has made his money doing other things. I don't think that Marvin Sapp needs $40,000. I'm sure he would take it if it was raised for him, but I don't think that was his intent. I don't know what his intent was, but I don't think that it was ethical. He did apologize. I want to say that too. He apologized for his tone. He apologized for the way that he said what he said, but he did apologize. So I want to say that as well. And that was his disclaimer. It was not what people thought. And I do feel like in today's world, we take little blurps of things and we take them out of context. But I do think that this conversation sparked something that really needed to be discussed, and that's how we collect money at churches, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. I just feel like it should be looked at again, and we need to start maybe not pandering, for money, but letting people give what they can afford to give and what they choose to give instead of just, taking people money, because I just feel like all these little all these elderly women are giving up they paychecks. And how do you trust? I mean, how do you trust them? How do you trust them? Damage control for sure. Definitely damage control. I 100% agree. Yeah, so that's just my thing. I feel like we just got to do better.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Oh, I say this. Just listen to what he said. I don't know where he got. Um, he's saying that his family was threatened, and
I didn't like that.
yeah, I don't think that. I don't think
That's not right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody threatened his family or his kids or anything like that. I just can't see him asking for money would cause somebody to say, you know what, I'm gonna threaten your family, and I just can't see that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. And I don't think that's cool to come against people's family.
Hmm.
That's not cool. To come against somebody's family, to threaten their kids. And I believe that people are nuts out here and they are threatening his family, they're threatening his kids because so many people have been mistreated and dogged in the church. Definitely have been.
Well, somebody says he's looking for pity. I just don't see our people doing like threatening his family. He didn't like molest a kid or, you know,
Mm.
he did have some people hostage. He did, but
I mean, that
he
could have been
brought,
a kidnapping charge.
yeah, he did.
If they
I
would have
think,
locked the
right,
doors.
right. I think they tried to bring some charges upon him.
Mm-mm.
They didn't. Okay.
No. I think people should open their minds and research. Religion is big business. I also decided to research all religions. It was eye opening. It has opened my eyes. I agree.
Yeah, it does.
And we got to talk about it one day, Kim, because for me, it was a complete eye opener. A complete eye opener for me. It was.
Can we get the phone number real quick?
Yeah, we can put the phone number up.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of
Do
people.
anybody want to call in today? 216-245-3380. Call in to Juicy Talk. Yes, but I think we should just, I don't know. I think they need to do away with asking for money. Delta, that's exactly what the problem is. So many have gone away from our culture. I agree. And I mean, this is a thing that we'll never know, but I do feel like it is some validity in the fact that if we were in our own culture, never take it from our own culture, we would not be looking at a Bible. That's not what we would be doing. We were in tune to the things around us, the moon, the suns, that we were one with the earth. We respected the animals.
Absolutely.
We respected the things around us. We respected one another. And during that time, we were at peace. There was no peace. In African culture, and a lot of people don't know this, they do not beat, spank, whip their kids. They don't. They don't have to. They don't. That was never part of our culture. That was something that came from slavery. That was not a part of our culture. We did not spank our kids. We talked to our kids. We raised them. We guided them. We gave them stories.
We got a family.
Yeah,
we had that family that took a
yeah.
village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. That's actually where that came from. It came from
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah. It was no such thing as a fatherless child. It was no such thing as a motherless child because or his dad or her mom, because all the kids, all the men in the responsibility, all the men of the tribe were the fathers of all the children, because it took everybody.
Took a
All the
village.
mothers of the tribe was the mothers of all the children in the tribe. And that's how they were raised. And that's our culture. We were one with the water, and we were everything that was created, we were made of. And so we respected everything around us. And we were a more peaceful, more progressive people. I didn't like when Marvin Sapp said, "Bring the baskets up front. I want to see the faces." That has an intimidating tone, in my opinion. Yeah, you using your position, your power, your influence to make people feel pressured to give money. That's exactly what it was. It was manipulation. I disagree. I don't think Black Americans are Africans. Some of us are indigenous to this land. Some are the true so-called Jews and only follow Torah, some even from the islands. Well, I will say that I don't know if it was the Torah we were following, but I would definitely say yes, the majority of us that are here in the United States are indigenous people. Me and my family are not indigenous. And so that's why I said African culture. My grandfather is from Ghana. He is Ghanaian and he was not a slave to anybody. So and that's not taken away from our culture or anybody else's, but he was indigenous to Ghana. And that's why I brought up African culture. But I know that absolutely, you're right. It's a lot of indigenous people here. And if you had never been outside of if you ever go to like the Lord in Mexico, you will find these all kind of artifacts, not religious artifacts, all kind of statues that resemble Black people. There was Massa, I think his name is Massa, his brother. He was like the richest man, still considered one of the richest people that ever lived, right? He had a brother who stepped down from the he stepped down from his throne, gave it to his brother Massa, so he could travel the world and go all over to the United States. He was the one who came over here with 500 ships and settled in Africa. Christopher Columbus followed his way, and that's how they end up coming here. It's very well documented. It only takes a simple Google or TikTok, and you will find out that that's just what it was. We were indigenous. We were everywhere. The planets were all connected. We were closer together. There were land bridges, there were water streams, there were so many different things. So, absolutely, you're right. I 110% agree. I do. Deep.
I just want to say something. We really got to know our history. We really need to go back and do our own research because again, I'm not prejudiced or anything like that, but they're not gonna tell you the truth. They're not.
Well, I mean, they win in power. It's a certain amount of power that comes behind that. If I strip you of everything that you know,
correct.
Everything, your whole culture, your way of being, your conversation, I take with that your pride, your dignity, your self-respect. I break all of that. I take that. I separate you from your family,
Yes.
from the people who can teach you your history. I mean, that is so traumatic. Could you imagine if somebody came in my home and took my children out and then separated my children from their children and kept doing it generation after generation? Do you know that eventually they won't remember me? It's like I never existed. And so this is what happened to us culturally. And it's barbaric. It is. And it just didn't happen to us. It happened to a lot of different ethnic groups, you know? So I mean it's a lot to be said about that, but when you know better, you do better. And that's why I have such a problem with us not sticking together, us not loving one another and edifying and lifting one another up. Like at the end of the day, that's what we should be doing. We should be lifting one another up. We should be caring, supporting each other's businesses, supporting each other in all our endeavors and what we're trying to do. Collectively looking out for your brother, your sister, your family, your community, the people. And it's not about color to me as much as it is about classism, and we don't talk about that as much, but there is a separation by class, because even in African, like even in during slavery times, if you were somebody who came from money, had money, you had a different power and influence. You was able to do things. It was black people who were free, who owned slaves. So I'm just saying, like, not saying it's right. Yes, cognitive dissonance is what a lot of us are suffering from. It's traumatizing, realizing what you've known to be true is a lie. That's such a hard concept. Yes, that is such a hard concept for people to get, and it's so hard when your whole foundation of what you know to be real was created. It's like everything grandma said was wrong. Everything my, big mama and papa told me was wrong. Like it's a hard pill to swallow. It is. And it makes you feel, and especially when it's the masses of everybody believe one thing. But that, what does the Bible say about that? He said it's something that the Bible says it's saying, and I'm probably going to get it not right, but basically the concept was the ways to hell is the path to hell is wide. A lot of people can go on it, but the path to righteousness is short and narrow, and not a lot of people will go that way. But when you look at religion, it's like so many people are going that way. It's a lot of people that we live in a place where it's a lot. Religion is like you said, big business. Everybody is involved. It's huge. It's a big concept. It's a multi-million dollar. It's a whole network. It's all kind of stuff. People make the Bible is still the biggest top selling book. So that says a lot. So it's a lot of people that are involved and are in religion. So it just makes me think, was that little part blurb in that book really meant to say, like, it's the people who think differently? It is. Boop. It is. It is. And some people will have a hard time. Don't you take their Jesus away.
It depends on, some people feel like, because of God, I've been saved. If it wasn't for him. And I don't know.
I feel like some people need to believe in something bigger than themselves. Mm-hmm. And who am I to say that if it's making you a better person, if it's making you show up in the world better, if it's making you feel complete, if it's the way that you get through your problems and your issues, who am I to come against it? That's not I'm not here to tell people what they should and shouldn't believe. That's a personal journey.
Absolutely.
It's a personal journey. I think people should be allowed to do what they want to do. But for those who really want to know more, who seek deeper answers, I just know one thing for sure, too, for certain. Like, we got to start making sense of some of the things that we've been told. There's no way that you would take one of each animal, one dog, one cat, one, male and female dog, Like there's of each animal. That doesn't make sense. But if you told me that you had to take a DNA sample from each dog, from each animal on the earth, I might be able to say that, okay, I can see how you could put that on a boat. And then you could clone all the animals back and recreate them. I might be able to see how you can do that, especially because we cloning and doing stuff like that too. She said, hit the buzzer for
I saw
yourself.
that.
You know, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, is that not the world we live in where people profit off of ignorance? I mean, it's a concept that's been going on forever. They've been saying if you don't want black people to know something, what they say, put it in a book.
Put it in the book.
That's a thing. That was a real thing that people used to say. And they used to say it back in slavery day because we couldn't read. We wasn't
Right.
allowed to read. But it's still the same principle. It's still being applied today, you know, in so many ways. But I mean, in my opinion, I just feel like I can get with that. And I just feel like, you know, we need to stop perpetuating things that we know is not true. Adam and Eve, right, have the same DNA makeup. Let's just say, for instance, Adam and Eve. They did not populate 8 billion people from just one Adam and one Eve. Because we know if you inbred people 3 generations or so out, you're going to have like cleft lips and medical problems. They ain't going to be able to talk. They're going to have like severe abnormalities and different things of that nature. You know, so we know that that's not possible. So I don't know where this concept, I mean, it's so much to go with that, but that's a whole nother show. Y'all wouldn't be mad at me. But I could talk about that for days. Like there's so many different things, concepts. I'm gonna just say this one thing. I want to just leave in people's minds, right? If we are here, us, humans, humankind, and we have created advanced technology, we didn't learn how to create a rocket and we didn't create the wheel, fight, like all this different stuff that we didn't came up with, right? Why would we think that there is just us and that there's no other life forms out here that have created technology that have been here longer than us or that are more advanced technologically than us? Why would we think that that's not true? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I just wish that we would think more like that. How is it that we have civilizations that were built, carved out on the top of a mountain, right? Ruins and buildings and all this intricate Stonehenge and pyramids and stuff like that with a pulley and axle system, laser sharp precision, lined up directly in alignment with the stars, you know, Polaris and all these different galaxies and star groups. Why would we think that that was it? That wasn't some type of technology? We still can't figure it out. And not just pyramids here, but pyramids all over.
They're all over the world.
All over the world. We even got we got a whole snake mound here in Ohio. I don't know if you know that, but it's called the Snake Mound. And it when you look at it from over, it's been there for hundreds of years. And when you look through it, it goes for miles and it's a snake head. And then at the top of it is a pyramid. Like
they got pyramids in Vegas.
They got them here in Ohio.
Yeah, so
it makes so much more sense. Kim, we gotta talk. I hope you're going on a cruise, Kim. Because, honey, we can sit down. We're gonna have to talk about this. Because I be thinking I'm the only one. I'm just saying, like I said before, if somebody came down out of the sky in a bubble right now, people will be thinking, What?
That's Jesus
That
Christ.
is Jesus Christ.
He's come
And
for
it could
me.
just be another man who they could be on their planet, they could be going around in bubbles every day. It could be like nothing, no big deal. But if he came here in a bubble and he came down out the sky, like on all the emerald tablets and sea scrolls and all these different, ancient writings talk about this fire bird coming from the sky. Was it a spaceship? Don't know. But wouldn't that be messed up if everything that we think, the whole concept of the Bible and everything that we had was really based off of technology from another planet, galaxies away? I mean, it's just something to think about. Things that make me go,
I know, right?
you know. I could talk about that all day though, Kim, for real. So, any final
No final words.
This was a good show.
Yeah.
I have a clip that I'm going to play when we leave out. As we exit out, it's a clip that I'm going to play for you guys. And it's a funny clip, and I think you guys will enjoy it. We worried about the sky. We need to worry about the oceans as above, so below. Man, people don't understand it. Girl, that's a whole nother show. They ain't even ready. Very thought provoking. I just want y'all to go out there and research it. Just look at some of this stuff because I have a concept that everything that we were taught is incomplete. I'm not going to even say it was done with the malicious intent. I just feel like it's incomplete. And we just told the narrative that has been passed down, that has been diluted, that was not the whole story. People who wanted to be in power didn't, just like people do with their kids. They don't need to know that. I'm not telling them that part of our family history. They don't need to know that. Why? Now, do they grow up their whole entire lives thinking one thing and it's something different?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing that happened throughout. And when people start looking at Constantine, King James, and you start finding out that these people were pedophiles.
King James.
Yeah, pedophiles. His most famous book was about sorcery and witchcraft. You know.
Let me also say about King James. King James, the way he became a king, he killed his mother in order to be a king. People don't even know that.
But his Bible, his Bible.
That's his Bible, though.
It's still what people are basing their whole entire existence and life
of a guy that killed his mother.
Who also believed in sorcery.
Yeah, he got a book out.
It's out there. Y'all can go look and find it. Yeah, Satan worshipers, pedophiles. So I mean, we gotta, but had the power.
But I guess we didn't have anything to. We didn't have anything to compare it to. And also, the other thing is that why would someone that's trying to keep you enslaved give you the book of knowledge?
Listen, I can
think about that.
I agree,
but
but
why would they give you the book of knowledge to keep you down? Why would they give you that?
I agree with you, and I would say this, and I'm gonna leave. This is my final say.
That was my final say.
This is my final say. I felt more enslaved following the Bible than I ever have when I walked away.
Wow.
That's just some real talk. And I'm just speaking for myself. And I'm not saying that I'm not religious. Like I said, I am spiritual. So don't send me no inboxes talking about I'm a devil worshiper. Because I'm not. I'm all about love and light. But I will say this. I was definitely controlled, manipulated, and those are the type of people that I brought in my life. People who was controlling and manipulative. When I walked away from religion and start seeking knowledge and information and operating from a place of the anointing that's on the inside of me, my life changed. My concept of life changed. The way that I was treated, the people that was attracted to me, the people that I attracted changed, you know? So that's just my last words on that. But on that note, thank you for tuning in. The God in you, baby, the anointed one, the Christ consciousness aspect of all of us that we all have, the part of us that is enlightened and lifted up, that can call upon, because some of these things that we calling upon, these people that, concepts, these things that these are not even, you got to be careful who you calling, who name you calling in. I'm just saying. You got
words
to.
Can kill. Words can.
Yeah,
words
it spells.
Yeah.
Spells. It spells. Words are powerful.
Yeah, very powerful.
I do think words are powerful. What you speak over yourself, what you speak over your children, the things that come out your mouth, because it comes with it an attitude and a perception of who you are. That's why I don't allow people to speak things over me. I will get upset if you say something to me like, oh no, you feel this way. No, I don't. I won't allow you to put that on me. I'm going to tell you what it is that I feel. I'm going to tell you how I feel about something. You ain't got to guess with me, because I'm not going to allow you to put nothing on me that ain't supposed to be on me through your words. You take that back. That's for you, boo. People project on others a lot. They project their own ideologies, their own self-concepts, what they can't have, what they can't do. They project it on you. Parents project that kind of stuff on their kids too. Oh, you can't do this. No, I ain't never told my kids they can't do nothing. Anything you think you can do it. I'd be like, go ahead, go get them, show them, and that's what we should be doing. We should be lifting and uplifting our children, our families, speaking life into one another, not casting spells like, I love you to death. No, don't love me to death. Love me to life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just those simple things that people say that we don't realize that we're saying things that is changing your mindset. Have you ever been on the phone with somebody and they start talking negative, and the next thing you know, you irritable and you mad and you upset. But when they called you, you was cool. These are just the type of stuff that we got to think about. And these are the concepts that we lived by previously. So they'll have you thinking everything that is for you, that is part of your culture, that is good is wrong. And you got to start questioning that stuff. Why is it that they telling you that astrology is wrong? The stars and the moon and the skies and the planet alignment is wrong. Why? But guess who study it? Every rich person out here got an astrologist on their team. They actually pay a paid astrologist to tell them when to release the book, when to do this, when the planets, when will you be more successful if you look at this and you look at that. It's automatic, but they don't talk about that. They ain't gonna tell you that because they want you to be, stifled. They don't want you to walk in your true purpose and your
ignorant of the truth.
Yeah, they don't want you to walk in your true purpose. They don't want you to know what they know, because if you don't know what I know, then guess what? You can't do what I do.
Right. And I have power over you.
And I got power over you. I'm gonna keep telling you that, the New Year's in January when everything's dead and dying. I ain't gonna tell you that the New Year's in spring, when everything is alive and being reborn. I'm gonna keep telling you on New Year's in January.
Talk about God's birth is the 25th of each month. Come on now, really? Come on.
December.
Right.
I mean, it's just so many different things that
you may lose some friends tonight.
I don't, you know what? Then they wasn't real friends, because at the end of the day, like, it's just about open your mind. We got to stop having this mentality that our way is the only right way, that there's not other concepts and things that we should look at.
You've been lied about.
Yeah, I mean, you got to just look. I say do what make you happy at the end of the day, but you got to start looking at your life and saying, where is your life going? Where are you prospering at? Are these things making you better? I know people who've been in and I ain't down in nobody, but I have experienced a lot of people who was faithful, steadfast, unmovable, always going to church, right? Always there, and broke to the day they took their last breath. Always believing God was about to get him some money. God's got me. He gonna take care of me. The Lord works in mysterious ways. He's gonna make a way out of no way. And all of that may
He's
be
always
very
on
well
time.
true. All of that may be very well true. But where is your way? Just where is it at? I'm just saying, like, where is it? And I ain't saying that. I just want to know, like, those people, and it's more of a question.
Right.
You know, like you had all this faith. When? When was it going to be your turn and your time?
I look at it like,
and when did you move for yourself? Why didn't you make it for yourself? Sorry, Hardy.
That's okay.
Do it for yourself.
That's okay. I have to look at one thing. I have to look at, and I look at slavery as one of the things I look at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we serve this living God, this loving God. But I know every culture, every race have suffered their own tragedy, and I don't know if it's been anything like ours. Like, you know, the beheading of our men, babies being fed alligators, men being bucked, separated from families, just all kind of things. It's just, but we always say God is good all the time. What's the other one?
All the time, God is good. Not all the time.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
It's so many deep concepts, and I know people they're gonna be mad at me tomorrow. I know this is gonna be mad. I know, but like it's just like it was this. When you look at the Old Testament, right? And I don't feel like I'm just don't hate me for having this, right? But when you look at the Old Testament, you see where this God is supposed to be this loving and caring and wonderful God, right? But he killed all these people. Mm-hmm. Babies, killed the babies, the women. I mean, what is it? I think it's in Deuteronomy where God orders, or it's supposed to be God, because I don't think that's what they're talking about. I mean, after my research, and I don't think it's God that's having this conversation, but men wrote this book, and men write things to justify their actions. But I digress. But it's like God gave the orders to, and I say God in quotations because I don't think that's God, but to kill the kids, kill the women. And if you find a woman that you want to sleep with, you can rape her. And if you decide you want to keep her as your wife, you can. But if you don't, then you can kill her too, or let her go. And this is not something I made it up. You can look it up. If you inbox me, I send you the scripture.
The other thing is God kicked the devil out of heaven. He kicked him out to earth, right?
Yeah, he sent them to, supposedly, I think the way the story goes is that Satan wanted to be God. Right. And so because he wanted to be God, he kicked him out of heaven, and he had to come to earth. And in the Garden of Eden, which is kind of where it kind of go left for me.
Right.
Is that he tempted Adam. The one no, he tempted Eve and Adam, but Eve first with the knowledge of good and evil, or in some translations, knowledge and truth. And God wanted them, I say it in quotations, God didn't want Adam and Eve to have knowledge and truth. But every other aspect of the Bible saying all you're getting, get an understanding. But in this other part of the Old Testament, he said you don't need to understand nothing. It's like, so Satan was supposed to be, you know, he said you eat this apple, you're going to have the knowledge of good or evil, or in some translations, knowledge and truth. And if you don't, then you won't know anything. You'll just follow blindly. And they didn't have free will, and they were following blindly. I mean, it's just so many different, but we would never tell somebody to follow each other blindly nowadays, would we? Would you expect somebody to follow you, producer?
We're too smart for that.
You would want somebody to follow you blindly? Really? Why?
Huh? Oh, okay.
So what you think about all of this?
Oh, okay.
She don't want to talk. I'm just curious. I mean, it's just so many different things that we can this was an interesting conversation, but it's so much. We definitely got to talk. But we're going to end the show. But before I end it, we're going to end it. Thank you again. We're going to re-air this, but we wanted to do a live show because we wanted you guys to have the opportunity to chime in and have live comments up while we had this conversation. This is not our typical Thursday, but I wanted to get on here. We're not going to show a live show on Thursday, which will be tomorrow, because we not. We got some things jumping on. We're going to be traveling. But I wanted to still come here and talk about this because I thought it was something. And it was an interesting conversation. What do you say?
I thought so.
I enjoyed it. I like when we think big and think better. So, on a funny note, y'all watch the credits as they go out because I have a funny video for y'all. Thank you for watching. Love y'all. See y'all Thursday of next week at 8 p.m. at our regular scheduled programming. Peace.
Okay, we're going Okay, we're going now.
trying to tell me.